It was desperately disappointing. It's not where the club wants to be, relegated to Division 2. Fine margin of 1 point is makes it doubly galling. But I suppose every side can look back and say, well, we could have got an extra point here or there through the summer. And we should never be in that position, really, to be down in the bottom 2 in the First Division. So the primary objective now is to get back into that First Division by having a really good 2019.
The batsmen just didn't really click, didn't they? They never.
Well, there was a lack of consistency, wasn't there? And it wasn't so much bad sessions as bad hours. You know, we just had a number of collapses that didn't serve us well in any way, shape or form. And when you look, you can look all you like at names on pieces of paper and look at the team. People say look at the team sheet and look who we've got. Well, that's fine, but if you don't get the runs, the currency for professional cricketers is runs and wickets. And if you're not getting the runs or the wickets, then you're not going to win games. And unfortunately, we didn't score enough runs.
What do you put that down to?
Combination of factors. We've had some injuries, but these aren't excuses. These things happen in professional sport. You get injuries, you get lack of form or loss of form. What you hope is that they're all manageable and that they don't all come at once. And we had a bit of a rush of poor performance, lack of form, injury, Chanderpaul's loss of form, Hamid's loss of form, Livingston's injury, 1 or 2 calls to England Lions, Jennings then getting into the Test side. All of these things we should prepare for, but when you have 2 or 3 or maybe 4 of your batsmen out at the same time, that does put a stress and strain on resources. We are generally pretty well resourced in the batting department, but it didn't work for us this year, I'm afraid.
Yourself and Glenn and the whole squad will be desperate to put that right next year, so it's certainly in a pretty strong place in terms of a squad to go back up next year.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're very comfortable with the resources available for next year playing in the second division. We'll be looking to strengthen our batting by getting an overseas batsman to bat in the top order. It's a difficult proposition next year, or made more difficult by the fact that there's the IPL, and straight after that there's the World Cup, which takes any number of eligible foreign players out of the equation. So you've got to be selective, you've got to be sharp and savvy as to who's around and who can fill in for you in that first half of the season, because the World Cup doesn't finish basically till mid-July, and there are 12 county championship slots between April the 1st and the middle of July. So that's a huge proportion of the summer, plus all the 50 over cricket as well, which is being played between mid-April and mid-March next year.
In terms of a couple of positives, Tom Bailey and Graham Onions kind of leading wicket takers.
Fantastic, yeah, they did really well. Graham Onions has resurrected his career, I think, by coming down to Lancashire. He's been delighted by the support that we've given him, both on and off the field, and he's rewarded us by bowling as well as he's bowled in the last 8 years or so, probably. He's a really good professional, honest, hard-working, and he's been a great influence on the dressing room. Plus the fact that he's taking loads of wickets, which is really good. And Tom Bailey, you could say he's come of age, I think, this summer. He got his county cap towards the end of it, which is always a measure of attainment and responsibility. And for him to finish as leading wicket taker was really good.
Tom's kind of threatened to do it over the last couple of years, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had a couple of injury worries, but you know, he's now getting towards his prime as a seam bowler, into his mid to late 20s. So the experience that he's he's gleaned over his formative years now starting to pay dividends. He was a late developer in Lancashire terms and schoolboy cricket. So it's taken him perhaps a little bit longer than some people would take, but now he's right at the top of the tree in terms of Lancashire bowlers, and we want him to carry on doing that for the next 4 or 5 or 6 seasons.
And Keaton Jennings came down with Graham Onions from Durham kind of last year.
Yeah.
He's had a great influence on the club as well.
Yeah, good influence, really solid professional, again very hard working, has a real good and positive personal idea of where he wants to go, what he wants to do, how he approaches the game. That's rubbed off on a number of individuals over in the dressing room. And he's had a successful summer, scoring runs for Lancashire early season, and that propelled him back into the Test side. He will have an interesting winter, I think, playing for England, initially in Sri Lanka and probably in the Caribbean after Christmas. And that will determine where he's going to sit in terms of how much he can play for Lancashire next year. But I've already said there are 12 championship slots before the Ashes series, so no Test cricket then. And with the best will in the world, I can't see Keaton breaking the way into the England's 50-over squad. So we should have him for a predominant part of the first-class summer next year, which will be great.
You mentioned recruitment a little bit earlier, but we signed Richard Gleeson at the back end of last season. He's another good addition to the bowling team. Yeah,
Lancashire lad, played a majority of his club career up in around Blackpool, played for Cumberland as well in the minor counties competition, so he's come home in effect. He's another late developer. Some would say that he might have slipped through the net when he was working as one of our development coaches up in the north of the county. But what he's done is, of course, he's gone away to Northants and proved that he can be a very useful first-class cricketer, more than useful, in fact, in all forms of the competition. Looking forward to seeing him bowl in the shorter form, T20. He's made a bit of a name for himself in that, so he'll be a great addition to our squad.
Just looking at Lancashire's white ball cricket this year, obviously good progression in the T20 getting to finals now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I really think that Lancashire should be one of the top teams in T20 cricket, not only in the country but in the world. We've got the best T20 record in the country in terms of wins since the competition started in 2003. Getting to finals day is and was a really good achievement. We let ourselves down in the semi-final. Didn't perform as we could have done, or as we should have done, which again is a little bit frustrating. It was a bad week that week when we lost to Yorkshire in the championship and then lost in the first semi-final at finals day. Took a little bit of the gloss off actually getting to finals day, which is one of the showcases and showpieces of the domestic summer. So we'll be aiming to do that again next year and go 1 or 2 better. 50-over competition was, we were better in that in 2018. It's got a shift in the calendar next year, so it's going to be played early season, I think April the 14th to May the 14th, something like that. And of course from 2020 onwards, the year 2020 onwards, it's going to shadow the new 100-ball competition. So there'll be plenty of opportunity in 50-over cricket to showcase talent that's coming through, because I think if all things go to plan, Lancashire will be missing a few of their senior and key players at that period. So we've got 1 or 2 questions to consider as to the makeup of our 50-over side next year. It may be that it's as well to blood some youngsters in 50-over cricket next year, but Glenn and myself and Mark Chilton will sit down and develop a strategy for that, whether we want to go all out to win it, which we do, but whether we go all out to win it with young talent or amalgamate that with our older and more experienced players as well. We'll just wait and see.
Just going back to T20, James Faulkner had a very impressive campaign, didn't he?
He did. It was a shame he got injured in that semi-final, but he's another fundamental part of the team, both on and off the field. Another great character who works hard, knows the one-day game inside out. We're looking forward to having him back next summer.
Just a quick word on the 3 players that have been released. Their contracts expired: Aaron Lilly, Simon Carrion and Carl Brown. They've all been very good servants to the
club. Yes, it's always unfortunate when players have to leave the club, especially players that have been with us for a long time through age groups and then the academy and then into the second and first team. And we're sad to see them go. But it's a time for new talent, time for youngsters, and we continue to produce age group players. Our age group cricket is outstanding, and the academy continues to produce players, and we're duty bound to give the next crop of youngsters an opportunity.